This is Mac OS Ken.
Morgan Stanley doubles down on Apple. Apple Watch drove smartwatches last year, and examining growth for Apple TV Plus. It is Thursday, the 23rd of February, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Wondering which is the best hardware stock to buy for 2023? Well, we're talking about it here, so give you three guesses. Apple Insider has word on a new note from Morgan Stanley that says it's Apple. Oh, I'm sorry, did I give you enough time? Carrying a theme launched by Katie Huberty years ago, Morgan Stanley's current crop of analysts cites under-ownership of Apple by institutional investors as one reason for the stock's current price. Additionally, the analysts cite 5 idiosyncratic tailwinds that should propel Apple shares over the next 6 to 9 months. They include re-accelerating growth for Apple services, pent-up demand for iPhone 15, you heard me, an Apple AR headset, a possible hardware subscription service, and underappreciated gross margins. Idiosyncratic seems like a good word for that list. While the firm does note that Apple could be hit by deteriorating consumer electronics demand, Morgan Stanley has ticker symbol AALP down as its top pick for 2023. The firm's price target on the shares is $175. The middle of the road was no place to be for smartwatch makers in 2022. New numbers from Counterpoint Research show growth last year for smartwatches priced under $100 and over $400, with Mr. In Between falling down. And growth was top-heavy. According to the firm, shipments in the $100 or less segment grew 34% versus 2021. Meanwhile, shipments of smartwatches priced $400 or more grew 129%. And thanks be to, want to guess who? Counterpoint analyst Woo Jin Son was quoted in the piece saying, Apple strongly drove the average selling price rise in the global smartwatch market in 2022, especially in the over $400 price band. There are two main reasons for this ASP rise: a diversified Apple smartwatch lineup and a rise in the exchange rate. This year, Apple released its first premium model, Ultra, at a release price of $799 in the U.S. In addition, as the exchange rate rose, the local price of Apple Watch in various countries changed. The demand for the premium segment remained relatively strong, despite the decline in consumer sentiment at the end of 2022. Adding more data on Apple, Counterpoint says shipments of Apple Watch increased 17% year over year as the Apple Watch Series 8, Ultra, and SE 2022 enjoyed strong sales. In addition, shipments increased by 50 million for the first time, accounting for about 60% of the global smartwatch market revenue, and further widening the gap with number 2, Samsung. Running down the top 5 in terms of market share, Apple was first with 34.1% globally. Samsung was second with 9.8%. Huawei was third with 6.7%. India's Noise was fourth with 5.6%. And India's Firebolt rounded out the top 5 with 5.5%. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. Building the perfect security system for your home might sound difficult. It is simple with SimpliSafe. Whether you're worried about flooding or fire or just want to keep an eye out for bad guys, whatever your home security needs, SimpliSafe has you covered. I love that part. How you can get just what you need to cover the needs you have. I also love how easy it is to set up. I had my sensors, keypad, and base station up and running in well under an hour. SimpliSafe is designed with cutting-edge security technology and powered by 24/7 professional monitoring that will not break the bank. SimpliSafe's round-the-clock monitoring costs under $1 a day, less than half the price of traditional home security systems. CNET named SimpliSafe Editor's Choice. Find out why. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. SIMPLI. That's simplisafe.com/macOSKen. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. There's an annoying note on Apple TV Plus adoption from UBS analyst David Vogt. Annoying because it made me do a logic problem. Yahoo Finance has the analyst saying that growth for the Cupertino streamer has flatlined among iPhone owners compared to other streaming services. Weird wording for a couple of reasons. First, to me, flatlined usually means died. Though a data acquaintance of mine says to her, the terms flatlined and plateaued are interchangeable. So let's say growth among iPhone owners has plateaued. Well, you can't if you count the number of subscribers. At least I don't think you can. According to the piece, UBS Evidence Labs polled 1,200 U.S. residents, nothing kinky, for their streaming habits. It's unclear whether all 1,200 were iPhone owners, though Vogt's quotes do center on those. For example, he says just about 22% of iPhone owners subscribe to Apple TV Plus, essentially the same as the January 2020 data prior to COVID. While the adoption of Apple TV Plus reached 26% in the January 2021 survey, as customers consume more media at home, adoption has backslid over the past several years. Not that this was an Apple TV Plus only problem. Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu have actually seen subscriptions dip among iPhone owners since 2020, according to the analyst. The Yahoo Finance report goes on to say while the trend was largely flat to negative for most services, HBO Max adoption among iPhone users increased to 35% in UBS' latest survey, up from the 19% seen in January of 2021. As far as respondents are concerned, it seems Apple TV Plus just doesn't have enough stuff. When it comes to best value for the money, respondents put Netflix on top at 27%, beating both Amazon Prime Video and Hulu at 12%. Only 5% of respondents gave Apple TV Plus the best value for the money nod. Now that's all about market share, and it's not to be sneezed at, to be sure. But it seems likely that the 5% enjoyed by Apple TV Plus today is bigger than the 5% from 3 years ago. That's because there are more iPhones out there today than there were 3 years ago. Would Apple TV Plus like a bigger share? No doubt. But they've almost definitely got significantly more subscribers. And that's not nothing. And finally today, speaking of Apple TV Plus, one of its stars is going live on YouTube this evening. Cult of Max has the problem with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is taking calls from the audience tonight, Thursday, the 23rd of February. What do we know about the show? Almost nothing. The Twitter post announcing the event said, Jon Stewart is hosting a The Problem live stream. Tune into our YouTube channel on Thursday, the 23rd of February at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be taking your calls. Details to come. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Followed by a link to the show's YouTube channel. Checking that link with about 16 hours to showtime. Still says details to come. Details like what they're talking about maybe, how to call in. Not much more time for those. The cavalcade kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You can watch it unfold and catch past videos at youtube.com/The Problem with Jon Stewart. And of course, you can stream past episodes of the show on Apple TV+. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, Bloomberg has run a secret sources report saying that Apple has hit a milestone on no-prick blood glucose monitoring. TMO Managing Editor Jeff Butts covers the tech in the story, while I have questions about the story itself. We'll hit those on the Daily Observations podcast from the Mac Observer, online at macobserver.com, or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Simply Safe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.